we sort of cheated in episode 1.0, Declan, because I think we both gave a list that went 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, 1 goaltender.
Yep.
And then we gave the potential 8-man, 1 goaltender protected list, which is another alternative. I think we did pick 1 apiece, but this time we can't do 2. This time you got to pick your poison. You got to take a path and stay on that. But as we prepare for what's supposed to be, and who knows now, what's supposed to be a July expansion draft with the Seattle Kraken, a name that you love.
Love it. It's a great name.
The Seattle Kraken coming into the league as an expansion team in 21-22. Each team will have their choice of either protecting 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and a goalie, or 8 skaters and a goalie. And then Seattle will pick from whichever list they get. So I'm going to have you start, Dex. Which one did you pick? And most importantly, who did you put on your list? Reminding people that, if I'm not mistaken, when we did this the first time, which was right before the season started for the Wild, we both left Jordan Greenway off our list.
Correct.
So what did you choose?
I went with the 7-3-1.
Okay.
So I did 7-3-1, 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, 1 goalie. The 3 defensemen part, I'm just going to spoil this for you right now, already locked in. You have Suter, Spurgeon, and Brodin are protected because they have no movement clauses. So they are automatically protected. You can't, if the Wild want to go down this path, then your defensemen already right now are locked in. So that's already a thing for me.
Okay.
I'm also obviously protecting Cam Talbot. Not obviously, but I'm protecting Cam Talbot. So you can make a case. Maybe you expose him. Maybe you don't. You think Capo's the guy, and maybe you don't want to pay Talbot. I can understand that, but I do protect Cam Talbot. My 7 forwards, though, Parise and Zuccarello are automatically protected again because of their no movement clauses. So that's 2 of the 7. Excuse me. So that leaves 5 spots left. So I'm obviously protecting Kevin Fiala. I am now protecting Jordan Greenway.
Yep.
I'm protecting Joel Eriksson.
Yep.
I am protecting Marcus Foligno.
Yep.
And I'm protecting a player to be named later. Now, here's the issue the Wild are really under here. I'm sure they are hoping to God that Victor Rask gets taken. Sorry, Seattle's not going to take him. But the Wild have so many UFA for their forwards and also rookies that, like Kirill Kaprizov, who's exempt from this list, they're kind of like, they don't really have a forward that's worth protecting. They're stuck here, which is actually a good thing. I'm not trying to say that's a good thing. You're not going to lose a forward of significant importance, unlike 3 years ago when Vegas entered the league. So my 7-3-1 goes Parise, Zuccarello, Fiala, Greenway, Ek, Foligno, and then player to be named later to round out that 7-player list. The 3 defensemen are Suter, Spurgeon, Brodin. My goalie protection is Cam Talbot, which means that Matt Dumba is being left exposed for the Seattle Kraken to snag up. And I know that's a tough pill to swallow, and a lot can change. Maybe they trade him and they don't have to deal with this. Regardless, Matt Dumba is the player that I am leaving exposed to the Seattle Kraken.
Very interesting. So I'm going to go with the same list.
Probably can get a Kraken Dumba jersey if that happens, by the way.
7-3-1. Those are going to be very expensive.
That's fine.
$225, I think, starting price.
That's fine. Best jersey, best logo.
I'm going with the same protected choice, 7-3-1. I have made a change in goal.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to protect Capo.
Oh, boy.
Because I'm going to assume that of all of the choices that Seattle is going to have, because there's going to be a lot of veteran goaltenders to dig through here, that they would not take Talbot.
Yep.
So I'm banking on the fact, the thing I don't like about Capo being exposed, if Capo is good and he's cheap, he's tempting to take.
Sure, yeah.
So I'm protecting him because I do think he has a future here. Talbot does, but it's short term. And I'm thinking that Seattle, if they do take a goaltender, a veteran goaltender from some team, it's going to be much more along the lines of when Fleury got exposed by Pittsburgh. I don't think Talbot's the goaltender that you take. That's just my guess. So I'm pivoting because I did go Talbot before on both my lists. And I am now going to protect Capo. Defenseman, you're locked in.
Yep. Sorry.
Unless you could get Suter to waive the no move.
Because you're not getting Brodin or Spurgeon to do that.
No, and you don't want to.
And you don't want to.
Because that's dangerous.
Correct.
So if you could get Ryan to waive the no move, because I don't think Seattle would take him, that would allow you to protect Dumba then and expose Suter knowing that he wouldn't be taken. But my guess is Ryan being Ryan, he wouldn't go along with that and capitulate to that request. So I'm going to assume that you're right. It's got to be Suter, Spurgeon, Brodin.
Mm-hmm.
My forwards, Parisi, Zuccarello. Oh, I've got to ask one of them. Oh my God.
It'd be nice if Zuccarello could
just
play
expose yourself. Just expose yourself
go
to
to
Seattle.
Honestly, it'd be a good thing for you, Mats. Just go.
Fiala, Eck, Foligno, Greenway. I'm with you. So I think the conversation here, because we're pretty much in lockstep, I think the conversation now is this. There is an urgency before this expansion draft to trade Dumba. Like, if this is what we're going to do, why just lose him? Or why
agree.
run? And I think that I think that we both agree. So I protected 6 known commodities at forward 2. So I think we both agree that forward 7 has to be somebody that you get for Dumba.
Yeah.
So if Suter says, I don't care, I'll waive my no move clause because the Kraken aren't going to take me, that solves my problem pretty damn near completely.
Mm-hmm.
But if he doesn't, and I'm guessing he doesn't, now you've got a forward that you're going to protect that needs to come through a Dumba trade. And that's where we circle back to our reckless speculation that we had last week on potential trades for centers, on potential moves that would include Dumba. But the urgency now, before that expansion draft date in, I think, mid to late July, becomes pretty important.
Yes, it does.
It becomes pretty imperative that you have to trade him. And I don't know, it's probably part of a package, which is absolutely fine. But I don't see, if Greenway's going to continue to play the way that he has, you can't let him walk.
You can't.
Like, those players are too hard to find, and they have a special skill set. And he is doing, before the shutdown, again, he was doing everything that we asked him to do. Doesn't mean he's a star, but it means he works damn hard and he's very effective. And that body for that position in today's game is extremely important.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's playing himself into the conversation of being protected, which is a good thing. I'm glad he finally stepped his game up. We've been very critical of him for basically his entire career as being Charlie Quill 2.0. But I'm glad that he's taking the next step. And so with Eck scoring goals. Eck's not scoring pretty goals, but he's scoring goals. I'm glad that both these guys are finally getting rewarded with how they've been playing. It's been refreshing. It just stinks that, again, we're a week into the season being paused by the Wild side part, and we can't watch them for probably a foreseeable future.
That's right. So let's go back on the reckless speculation that we did last week. Okay.
Yep. Ready.
So we talked about shortly before we did our show, I believe it was on Hockey Night in Canada, that Friedman reported that Sam Bennett of the Calgary Flames had requested a trade, and that came as a surprise to the Flames. So since then, he was scratched, I think the Thursday after we did the last Judd's hockey show was on Friday. He was scratched on Thursday. So things look bad then.
Yep.
He got back in the lineup over the weekend, and in fact has since then been promoted to second line wing. Now, he is a center by trade, but he was promoted to second line wing as Calgary, I think, tries to make things right. So it's not a slam dunk that he is going to be traded. In fact, he very well, if things now work out, and who knows, might not be. Okay.
Yep.
We also discussed the potential availability of Philip Danault of the Montreal Canadiens, who also is a center, but the Canadiens have really nice depth at center. So they have done the same thing, I believe, and moved Danault to a wing, but he's a very important player there. He kills penalties. He plays a lot. He's a guy who, if you were going to try and get him and put him back at center, would cost you a lot. So let's go to the guy that I think you brought this up with me off the air yesterday as far as potential availability. That is Hastings native Derek Stepan, who was with the Rangers, got traded to the Coyotes, and then during the course of the summer was traded by the Coyotes to the Senators. And sounds like things have not gone great. He's away from his family. Obviously, Canada is far more quarantined than we are. And so there is already talk that he could be moved. Now, he is not young, and I believe his contract is coming up fairly soon, and he makes a pretty penny.
Yep.
All of that being said, your thoughts on a potential trade with the Senators to get Derek Stepan?
Reckless speculation.
So Derek Stepan's making $6.5 million this year. He'll be a UFA after the season. He wants to be close to his family. He's in a basically dumpster fire. That is the Ottawa. I shouldn't call them a dumpster fire. They're just going to be bad. They're just a bad. I don't know if they're a dumpster.
The Red
fire.
Wings might be more of a dumpster fire, right?
I agree.
But the Sens aren't good.
The Sens are not good.
Like he's stuck there right now.
The good news is he wants out. He's old, and the Senators have cap space to play with.
Yes.
So to be honest, I would take a chance on Stepan, knowing that you're not going to have to give up significant assets to do it. I think Guerin knows that. I think the Senators know that. So yes, I'm in on the idea of trading for him because I do think he would fill a void. And you also, again, you're off the hook. It's not like you're trading for a guy who has an albatross contract. He's making $6.5 million for 3 more seasons. He's a UFA. So you're going to have to pay part of his salary. Right now, Ottawa has a first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, a third-round pick. They don't have a 4th and a 5th.
Okay.
If I'm the Wild, and I hate to keep using him, but like again, they have salary cap space to play with. I don't trade Dumba to make this happen.
No, hell no.
That'd be dumb.
Nope.
But I would trade Johansson. I would trade a Bonino and a 4th or 5th to get him. And to be honest, I'd call that just trade a wash because they have enough cap space with they're not up against it. Like right now, the Senators have $9 million in cap space. So they're honestly trying to play with getting to the floor of the cap space, which is why they have Stepan still on the roster.
They're pretty cheap.
So he's not going to cost a lot. And again, it's a good situation because yes, you're trading for a rental, but he's not going to be putting himself in a position where I think you overpay for him in the offseason. I don't think the Wild would do that.
So he is unrestricted after this season.
Yep.
But if he got traded back here, he'd probably give you a pretty favorable price because he'd be back home.
He's 30 years old.
Yeah,
right now.
I think that it would be advantageous for him to be home.
Right.
So all of that being said, yeah, if you could get him for Johansson and a draft pick.
Yeah, 4th round pick.
I'm with you.
I think you do.
And he would plug in as your top guy.
And this is different from other situations where like you're not trading something of significant importance to get, someone like Sean Bergenheim. Like you're getting a position of need. You're not trading around 1st round picks for Jason Pominville and then inking him to a 5-year deal. Like Derek Stepan with entering the last year of his contract and him filling the void as a center and him wanting to be home, I think that's a win-win for the Wild. The only fear I have is if the Wild give up significant assets, that's a 1st round pick, Matt Dumba territory. I don't think Guerin is dumb enough to do something like that.
No, hell no.
So I think
not for this year.
This is honestly a realistic trade. Like of all of our reckless speculation trades, this is the one that probably makes the most sense to do from both sides.
And it wouldn't be big.
No,
it wouldn't be seen as some big trade.
This is not a game-changing trade necessarily. This is a trade that needs to happen because the Wild don't have any significant center on the roster.
Yes.
Yes, it's fun to talk about Dubois or even like Dylan Larkin in Dallas or Eichel in Buffalo. Like, it'd be great to get one of these young studs who are, blossoming into top 10 players in the league, but that's going to cost significant assets to get one of those players. So Stepan would be awesome.
And you are going to have to do that eventually.
Sure.
But here's my thing too now. With how weird this is going to be, and we don't know when the Wild's going to play again. There's so many factors right now, right? If I'm Guerin, I'm hitting the brakes on doing something that looks like it's a big move, unless I damn well know that move is going to impact me positively short-term and long-term. But like Stepan's fine because that's just a draft picks or a player I don't want. But I'm saying as far as I think that there's an urgency to trade Dumba with the protected list that we did, Dex, but there's not an urgency to trade him to be good for 21, if that makes sense now.
Yeah.
Because we don't know when they're going to play again. You don't know anything. And you know what? I'm sorry, but at this point in time, with 5 teams on pause, I can't take this whole thing, and I still watch games, but I can't take this whole thing completely seriously. Like the 2021s, no. I mean, we don't know if teams are going to play the full allotment now of 56 games. We don't know if the league's just going to go into like a 2-week pause, which it very well could do. So I guess I've adjusted my thought process as far as potential moves go to if it's going to be like a Dumba trade, that's great and that's fine, but that's got to be to my benefit into 2021, 22, 22, 23. The Stepan trade, short term, yeah, if it's a pick. And look, if the guy has gone to Canada, can't see his family, hates his life. You know, it's not like the Sens are like, yeah, we can't trade that center.
I'd be pissed if I was in Ottawa too.
Yeah, exactly right. So, but this has changed my thinking right now, short term, because, again, I mean, okay, if you win the cup now, they're going to talk about, well, it's a great accomplishment to go through, but it's a pandemic. The whole thing's been altered.
Yeah.
I am far more concerned if I am the league and if I'm a team, if I'm Bill Guerin, my main thing now is how are we back to as normal as possible?
Yeah.
Playing a full schedule in October of 2021. Not, man, I hope we can come back and play and push now, right?
That's why it makes a lot of sense to just give up someone in Benino or Johansson to get someone like Stepan.
And they're not going to be back anyway.
All these guys are UFAs, and
you're right.
Honestly, none of them are going to be back. So I think it'd be foolish for the Wild not to pick up the phone and at least make the call. I think it'd be absolutely foolish not to do that.
Make the call, get the small haul.
That's fine.
Because you won't get the haul. You just get the small haul.
That's fine with me. I think it's a good idea. Make the call.
Final thought. With Brian Burke and Ron Hextall now in charge in Pittsburgh, how long before Zucker gets traded again? I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna make some moves there. Don't you?
Yeah, I could see that. This is good news for the Wild, by the way, because if the worse the Penguins are, the better draft pick the Wild are going to get. So it looks like the Penguins are. I don't think the Penguins are a dumpster fire. They're not entering.
They're not dumpster.
They're not
fire.
entering Detroit, Ottawa territory.
No.
But they could be a fringe top 10 pick. That could happen. It could be 9 or 10. And
they could easily miss the playoffs. That division's damn good.
Yeah. So this is good news for the Wild. But yes, I would not be shocked if Jason Zucker once again on the move. Really too bad. That's just bad.
Hey, last thing. If you're Bill Guerin and your phone rings today and you pick it up, and it's the representative for Mikko Koivu, and he says, look, he'd like to come back and play there. You don't have a guy that could basically play his position. Do you entertain a Koivu return for what's going to, and I don't know how much there's going to be. Obviously, they're going to come back and play at some point. Do you entertain a Koivu return for the last part of the 21 season?
No. God, no. I'm done with this. I don't want another fourth line center.
I'm with you, by the way. I just am curious.
Yeah, no.
Because I wouldn't
Zero chance.
That one would not, like, I know he retired, but he retired from the Blue Jackets and playing for Torts.
Yeah.
Who
chance.
Has benched Patrick Laine already. So
he apparently said something to a coach. That's why.
He has said something to an assistant coach, reportedly. It wasn't
necessarily his play. And then Laine owned up to it as well, saying, yeah, no, it was my fault. I didn't mean for that to happen. And it's justified why I got benched.
But
Good luck, Patrick.
Right, exactly right. But and you know what? The next time he gets benched, it'll be because he was told to back check more or something like that. But I'm with you. I don't do it. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if that call was made.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked either. But Mikko,
you don't have a center.
I don't. Can you go enjoy like Tamarack Village and Woodbury or something? Like I know you're probably coming back here to Minnesota. Just go away.
Go hang out with Chip Scoggins.
Go away. I don't think Chipper wants to hang out with Mikko.
No, it might be a good call.
Yeah.
All right. We are done. Thanks to Jess for joining us talking Wild and Gopher hockey. And Declan, do your thing before we're out.
Pass, shoot, score.